people's balls.
Oh man, I like it when that happens. And I do like this.
You think it should be okay for men to tickle each other's balls if you're going to be in jail for life? I wonder about this, right? I don't think I'm ever going to do nothing stupid enough to get me in jail for life. And I definitely know that I don't like testicles, or at least I've never tried testicles.
You don't
so
like testicles?
Well,
you don't like your own testicles?
I've never been.
You don't like other people's testicles?
Other than little playing around when you're with your friends, you slap each other.
Can you respect another man's testicles?
If you're in jail for life, is it okay for you to be gay?
I would say that it's always okay for somebody to be gay, no matter
that's
where
not what
they
I'm saying.
are.
If you like it, you like it. Whatever. Like in the Shameless, have you watched Shameless?
The Shameless,
the Showtime.
Yes,
Showtime
the show Shameless. I've seen that. Yeah.
The gay brother, right?
Right.
Him and Marty, I can't remember the names.
The local neighborhood guy.
Right. They end up getting together, and then later on, they end up in prison together, and they end up being bunkies this whole season.
Oh, yeah.
But
they used to be and I haven't seen the season, so apparently they're in jail.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
They're in there, but they share the cell together. And I was talking to Ashley. I was like, bro, being gay in jail is probably lit. It's super lit if you're gay in jail.
Why?
Because you like dick. Dick's everywhere.
Right.
You ain't got to worry being a heterosexual man in jail without pussy. All you're doing is jerking off. It kind of sucks. That's basically.
Right. No, I get it.
I'm coming up with a scenario prison sucks, period. And this episode's about Florida prison.
Yeah.
But I was thinking optimistically, what would be something that you would...
That's positive about jail?
Yeah, or I guess that wouldn't be so bad because you would just deal with it.
Because you were gay, you could get laid all the time?
You have sex, you have food, Maslow's hierarchy.
I don't know what that means.
Did they teach you that in school?
Probably.
You don't know about Maslow's hierarchy, the little triangle of what you need? Food, right? You need shelter.
Mm-hmm.
You need some type of religion or something to be a part of.
Gotta be religious.
Well, just something that makes you be a part of something that, and also builds your moral grounding, right? Religion does that to some people. So you need some type of connection.
Bible.
So all these things make a perfect human being or a good human being. This is what human beings need to
strive
feel like I don't want to murder people. I don't think a lot of people have all the Maslow's hierarchy. Right?
Inside a prison, they're missing a piece.
Maslow hierarchy. Yeah. So, right here. It's basically like a big ass triangle, and this is what you need. You need self-actualization, esteem, love and belonging, safety, and psychological. And these are the needs in order for you to be a healthy human, they say. All right, thanks Maslow. He came up with this shit. Now they teach it to kids.
Who's Maslow?
The guy that came up with this shit.
What is he like? Is he
according to this picture, he's like a mountain climber of your psyche.
Is he a totally well-rounded human being? See, man,
that or he had some pretty good friends that would allow this
research
to enter the educational system.
Okay, man, I'll play along.
One of those.
I'll play along.
You got to shout out to homie either way because everybody learns this shit except for Thompson. Either
way,
maybe they don't teach that in European school.
Hey, no, it was in Florida.
Europe.
This thing you're talking about in school, young, elementary school or middle school, high school.
Middle school, high school. I would say you would learn this.
So I was Texas and Italy.
Yeah, that's probably the Italy days. They were like, fuck Maslow.
I missed them. All right, well, whatever.
The point being is that, if you're in jail and you're going to be there for life.
I feel like if you're gay, you can get laid anyway. So would it be better in jail? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm looking at it as a heterosexual way. That's crazy. You just put me onto that because I'm just looking at it as sexually. So it's damn, if I can't have a woman, if I enjoyed men, then it would be cool, right? But
no, I can't be in jail.
I can't see it like that. I guess you see. I just made myself see what I'm seeing. I'm trying to see.
I just made myself see what I'm seeing.
I'm seeing heterosexually through the eyes of a gay man.
Okay,
that's what I'm doing right there.
Okay,
it's heterosexual thoughts, analyzing it through a so-called assumption gay mind.
Okay, so how is your heterosexual mind thinking that being in jail is more
because there's dick everywhere.
Right. It's
And
just
the
readily
thing-
available
exactly.
in proximity.
Exactly.
I don't got to go down to the park
And
or to the club.
I'm deathly
or the
afraid
laundromat.
of a big ass black dude
Or a dude.
knocking me the fuck out and
Right.
raping me. So what would be a positive alternative to that? Me liking that. If you like it, it won't hurt, right?
No, if you
'Cause
get knocked out, it's still going to hurt.
That's scary. That's the scariest thing to me about jail. That's probably why I don't do crime.
Getting raped?
Yeah, bro. Like knocked out and taken advantage of. Waking up and not even know, or just going through it. That must be. I'd rather get stabbed. I'd rather knife battle somebody.
Have you seen Snowfall?
Yes.
Remember episode 3 when they were trying to find his money?
Oh, and the guy rapes them in the house. Yeah,
he was
bro.
like, I don't think he's
bro.
beating him up.
Yeah, bro. That's deep, and that happened like without jail. So imagine those circumstances. But if you're the guy that's doing it,
What?
it's not that bad for you,
Right. It's almost awesome.
right? You must
But-
be like, oh, whatever, arrest me,
But-
take me to jail.
Right.
I fucked the shit out of motherfuckers in there.
That's true.
There's
That's
a guy
true.
that's living that truth right now.
So is it? I guess it's lit for him. You're saying like
Yeah,
the
it's lit as fuck.
sociopathic
Like it's
rapist.
lit. He's having a great time.
He is. He's having a great because that's the environment he wants to be in, where he wants to like victimize people. Yeah, it's pretty scary.
For us, through a heterosexual
That'd be a
regular,
lesson for you kids
that there's some dude out there
that likes that.
plays that side of the Monopoly board.
And he's like, oh, okay. He leans into it, as they say, something that is uncomfortable for most. No, I thrive in it, and I like it, and it gets me things I want.
I think when you're institutionalized, like let's say you've been in jail since.
But the original question was something about like, is it okay or whatever?
No, I didn't mean it by okay. I misphrased what I was trying to say. And again, I came from a wrong place because I can't assume the way somebody else would look at things because the mind that was built behind those actions took a long time to build. So I couldn't even put myself in those shoes. But I was trying to analyze an optimistic way of looking at jail without it being a scary thing. And if you were that dude,
Yeah, but if you're that dude, wow.
you've probably been in jail for a long time,
When
like
you're-
in and out. You
if
know
you're,
the
like, in the raping.
circumstance. Well, it's this is what like me and you kind of grew up similar to a lot of people as far as the like the first time we met a girl, right? And the first time we went out on a date, maybe went to like prom or these social interactions that really build your character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that are born gay, right? Or born and they just, I want to be, but they're still socializing similar to us, right? Meeting people, understanding who they are. But if you grow up institutionalized, a lot of those things get taken away from you and you start to build this mindset that's it's unfortunate. It's not human, but it is what it is. It's the circumstances, the situation. So you would grow up like fucking Big Dick Harry, and he's like knocking motherfuckers down, and he's okay with it. It's not wrong in his eyes. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's not wrong is the wrong word, but like he's okay with that shit. That's his reality.
Well, I mean, it is. I would say it is always wrong, right?
Why is it wrong? That shit is good for him.
Well, just because it's good for him doesn't mean you can like rape people.
But he doesn't see it like that because he's been so institutionalized.
It's not about how he sees it, though.
Well, yeah,
whether
that's
it's
why he's
wrong or
doing
right.
it.
Whether
No,
it's
of
wrong
course.
or right, it's not how he
Right.
sees it.
That there is no, in his eyes, there is no wrong or right. He's playing
Again,
his cards.
It's not how he sees it. That's a sociopathic way to look at things. Like,
That's the way he's looking at it, though.
it doesn't matter how he's looking at it.
Yeah, it does.
For what? How does
The
it?
dude that's getting raped, it matters then.
No, it's still wrong to him,
I'm not saying it's not wrong.
right?
I'm saying the perception of, in his mind,
No, absolutely in his mind, but like that doesn't matter. Like
it matters when he's getting
what
doing
matters
it.
is what affects all of us.
It won't affect all of us. This is only going to happen to whoever those
Oh, it's gonna
cards
affect
are
all
getting
of us.
dealt.
You know, it's gonna affect all of us because if he does it and it says that it's allowed or whatever, or that it's
Well, that'll never be allowed.
Never be allowed.
But what isn't allowed always in jail? They get. How do you think they get cell phones in jail? Motherfuckers are putting that shit in their ass, bro.
Boofing it.
You know, there's things. Even you know, I heard this like Nori. Right, Nori's one of my favorite rappers. He has a dope podcast, Drink Champs. He always says this thing about his rap. You know, him and Capone used to be CNN, right?
Yeah.
And he said that he used to give Capone some weed, and Capone would have to put it in his ass. To get it into jail. A lot of people do that. A lot of people put shanks and blades in their ass as a protection thing, and it's not gay. If you, on certain levels...
It's obviously not gay.
Well, just in men in general, if somebody told you to put something in your ass, wouldn't you be like, nah, bro, chill, I don't rock like that. But if you're
not because
jail,
I thought of any kind of sexual thing, just because I can't put anything in my ass. Like that would hurt and be uncomfortable.
It doesn't even have to be sexual. When you talk to a man, like in Training Day, when he's like, "Yo, have you ever had your shit pushed in?"
Yeah.
What do you think he's talking about?
Talking about a dick in the butt,
or period. Someone's fucking with your manhood. I think that's especially in Spanish culture. I would say in Black culture too. The ass play. That's very you automatic sexual or not. It's gay to you.
No, not necessarily.
Stay away from my ass.
That yes, but it can. It to me, it's an uncomfortability thing. Like I don't want anything in my ass. Like I don't like the feeling. You know? Right. That's
that
all.
Doesn't that well?
It's not about like
this is you. This is we always go back to these things. And this is you. I'm talking. I hope
it's not about like oh man, I feel like less of a man. That happens when I can't pick up as much as that dude.
I'm not. Like, I hope I don't come across as like
break
very
down a
stereotypical.
door.
But sometimes I have to be common with what these things, and a lot of men feel like that.
No, a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't.
That's what I'm getting at.
But a lot of people don't.
All right,
that's what I'm getting at. About
but
like
jail,
hold on, real quick. About like say like Black culture, right? You know what I mean? Nothing or Spanish culture or Asian culture, you know what I mean, or whatever. A lot of times when people speak about those things, they speak from the popular stereotypical angle about it too. But that doesn't mean that there's such another aspect of it of all the culture that doesn't feel anything like those people feel. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's just because some guy grew up a certain way and made a popular television show, or some guy grew up a certain way and made a popular song.
You have a first world mentality.
Or created a company.
It's very
whatever.
Privileged.
You know what I mean? People think a certain way. But everybody, including the people in those situations, which is why you get like a Maya Angelou or whatever, you get these special people coming out of those situations because they understand that there's a bigger world out there.
But they're not the norm. They're not the norm.
I disagree.
If they were the norm, the whole world would be a better place.
No. The reason I disagree is because the people that popularize or write the shows or whatever, they speak to a faction of them that is the loudest. Call it the vocal minority.
But the
whatever.
people that watch those shows, they pick up on these nuances, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not even nuances, right? Because it's like, well, then maybe they are nuances, but they pick up it on these social attitudes, constraints, these social
whatever, yeah.
Right. All right. And I get that. But that's the majority of people that do that. That's why these shows are created. That's why those things become popular. Why Love and Hip Hop, all these things that are necessarily...
I said it before, it's low-hanging fruit. It's the easy way to go.
For sure.
That's why, and then, but on the other end, the ones that get celebrated and actually like whatever are the ones that aren't like that at all.
But I would say the majority of the people that think like that, unfortunately, are in jail.
So think like what?
People that idealize and
the low-hanging fruit?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why they end up in jail.
For sure.
There's some circumstances that are different, but the majority of people in jail are stupid criminals.
Of course. Yeah, a lot of them are.
All right. And when you have that mentality, that's why you get these black and white ideas like playing with your butt is gay. You can't. I've heard. Listen, I've heard these stories in jail.
No,
if
but again,
you fight a known gay guy,
but again,
people automatically think you're gay.
So in there, in that world, right? Sure, the statement you made.
That's where I'm going with this whole thing.
But like when you said black culture, though, black culture is not.
No.
Jail.
In relative to jail.
Yeah.
In
That's
relative
the part,
to jail.
That's the part where the conversation was like.
The only reason I said black culture is I was trying to add. Or trying to make
because there's a lot of black people in jail.
No, it has nothing to
Spanish
do with
people.
that. It's very true.
People.
But what I was saying is that in general, with any culture, you're gonna find these stupid things like fart jokes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we can all laugh at a fart joke. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a black household, Spanish,
right.
or Chinese. The same thing with the butt play.
Yeah,
you can automatically be like, "Yo, that's a little gay." Are people gonna take it on a different spectrum of culture? Absolutely, but we're all gonna agree, and that's what I'm saying. You find inside jail is the primordial ideals of absolute respect. Don't step over my line. Don't watch the TV. That's my phone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't fight with a gay guy or argue with a gay guy because we're automatically all going to think you're gay. Wait a minute, there's no nuance here. There can't be like we had a conversation and he stepped up. No, the minute you argue with a gay guy in jail, you're automatically flagged.
It's the first time I ever heard that in my life.
I've heard this in a lot of prison podcasts. I listen to
podcasts. You argue about what? Anything?
What do you mean?
I've been saying like you can't. What is?
I'm sure there's different circumstances, but all the stories I've heard, whenever you have an engagement with a gay guy, you can't straight fight or get into a serious argument because people think you're having a
lover's quarrel.
Yeah, so everything is about face value there.
What if it's about like respect or something?
I don't know. I guess it all has to do with your reputation too. You know what I mean? Like some guys that I was talking about, like Big Dick Harry,
and then you're not allowed to
lays
be gay
down the
in
law
prison?
with his dick. He probably thinks he's not gay.
So you can't be gay in prison either?
I'm saying there's such a gray area with that shit because you're behind walls. Some dudes, like I said, will have a relationship in jail with a man and then leave jail and be like, nah, I never did that shit. I'm not into that, and won't be into men in the streets.
Yeah, but that dude's gay.
Is he?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he slept with a man?
It's the circumstances. In his mind, he doesn't.
But he's gay.
In his mind, he doesn't.
Not like. I mean, he's more on that spectrum that we're talking about toward being gay than say me, who if I went to jail would just be in jail.
It's the same thing as saying is the people that we send out to war and turn into soldiers and killers, when they come back, they're not killers. They're just representative of freedom.
So it may not be. Like if by definition, if you kill someone, you're a killer.
Right, but it's by definition, if you take it in the butt, you're gay. You're not.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, you're not though, according to them.
Right, but
it's jail rules.
You're on the spec. Like again, like if you go to war and you kill some people, then you're
what
more
if you're just fucking a butt?
Then you're
what
more.
If you're just fucking a butt?
Then you're more on the spectrum of being, I guess, a killer.
Maybe they're not into like the passionate man on man love.
Shot a deer.
They're just into butt sex.
And again, you're more if you're doing it toward a
they're
man,
not gay. They like anal.
If you're doing it to a man,
no,
a dude who's got.
That's not how they see it, Thompson. Wow. They just see it as butt sex.
I'm just talking about.
They're not
facts.
into
Facts, bro.
Don't you have to be passionately involved with a man to really be like you're gay? Because I like a man, right? Wouldn't it be like I like a man?
No, I think
instead of I like butt sex.
I think if it's only men that you like, then you're gay.
Right.
Only men.
Right.
Right. So if you're on the spectrum, then you're on the spectrum. That's just fine. All of that's cool. It's just
everything is cool. You're human. Everything is
exactly.
Cool.
But
in jail,
you can't just be like, nah, none of that.
In jail, you're not gay.
Well, why? Because it's only men?
No, because it's only butt sex, and you're in the head of this prison inmate that loves women, was a fucking playboy. He was all into girls. He probably wouldn't eat vagina. That's how deep he was into just having sex with women, right? But right. He had that thing. But when he went to jail, he was down for 25 years. He started fucking his hand too much. And then one of his cellies that he respected was like, nah, if you fuck him in the butt, you're not gay. It's just butt sex.
No.
That's how they sell it to themselves. That's how they, I guess, maybe cope with it because they can't take that. Maybe that's what it is too. They can't deal with the title Because, again, because of movies, because of all of these things, you look at a gay guy as it's like flamboyant, blah, blah, blah. But maybe just because you like other dudes. But you don't see it like that. That's why you're not calling it what it is. Because a lot of these dudes, like we're talking in generalization, not according to color, creed, or whatever your culture is, but on the basis, you'll just be like, nah, gay is a feminine dude that likes taking it in the butt. If I fuck this dude in the butt, I'm not gay.
I don't understand how that jump gets made, though. How does that jump get made?
You have to be in jail to deal with that type of shit. I kind of get it a little bit. Especially if you're a man's man, you can't deal with that reality. If you're an open dude, that you fucking like butt sex.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can't deal with that. Maybe there's too much pressure from your family, from culture, growing up on the block. Got the rims, I had the gun tucked. I was selling all this crack. I can't be having butt sex. You know what that's going to do to my body? These motherfuckers don't know my body. I'm not having no butt sex. That's the truth, bro. Especially people.
No,
that
I believe you. I believe you. I'm not trying to sit up here and act like that kind of culture doesn't exist, because I of course it does. I lived through that culture. You know, I lived through '94 hip hop culture. I understand what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just being who I am right now. Of the guy, like, come on, man. You know, you do what you want, love who you want, do it how you want, and don't try to, like. I look at it as a cop out. Is what I look at it as. I don't look at it as like that's how they. It's just you copping out. It's like, oh, I don't remember. It's like people who black out. Oh, I blacked out. I don't know what I did.
What if it's a coping mechanism? Like when girls get raped, they're like, they send like a strong. I didn't get raped or some type of. It's a coping mechanism.
You know, it's the same difference though. It really isn't affecting nobody else. If you want to lie to yourself, then okay, dude. Then you're not. Then you're not gay. You don't. You're not, bro.
Yo, that toad will get you sliced in jail. That little toad,
then you're not gay.
You'll get cut.
Yeah, people hate that shit. People hate when you agree with them in a certain way.
Well, like smile at the end. What you mean behind that?
No, because that's like my main. Because really unbothered is my main move. Like that's my only thing I can fully control because it's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking like it's real. And I can say a thing and you can disagree. And then instead of me needing to go back and forth, I can just say, okay.
It really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Okay, man.
Unless you allow it to matter. Isn't that it took me such a long time. Yeah. I used to get so frustrated at people. Yeah. I think that's why me and you get along so well, because we are opinionated people. But being able to master that, like, you know what? That's your life.
Right.
You know,
give it back.
I come off like an asshole because I cut people out of my life at certain points because of that. But it's like, yeah, because it starts to affect you in certain ways because you're like, how can you be real with that? You're fucking with my reality right now.
Yeah.
You are fucking with my reality right now a little bit. Yeah. So keep your shit to yourself.
Yeah, man.
Kimberly, hit us with them jailhouse facts.
This episode is another reason why humans are weirdos.
We can.
Humans can fly rockets to the moon.
Every day.
Drive metal cars to work every day. Circumnavigate the globe with a big piece of wood and sailcloth. But you still can't figure out how to stop poverty and crime? I get we have to put some people away, even kill. Like the cop in the last podcast. But throwing a man or women in a cage by a judge or their peers is the best solution you guys came up with. You guys suck. No worries though, artificial intelligence will imprison all of you soon. Humans are fucking weirdos. Florida State Prison, FSP, otherwise known as Rayford Prison, is a correctional institution located in unincorporated Bradford County, Florida. It was formerly known as the Florida State Prison East Unit, as it was originally part of Florida State Prison in Rayford, Florida, now known as Union Correctional Institution. The facility, a part of the Florida Department of Corrections, is located on State Road 16 right across the border from Union County. The institution opened in 1961, even though construction was not completed until 1968. With a maximum population of over 1,400 inmates, FSP is one of the largest prisons in the state. FSP houses one of the state's 3 death row cell blocks, and the state's execution chamber. Union Correctional Institution also houses male death row inmates, while Lowell Annex houses female death row inmates. Lethal injection became the standard method of execution in 2000. The electric chair can still be used by request of the inmate. FSP sits in the center of several other prisons. It is surrounded by New River Correctional Institution, New River O Unit, FSP West Unit, and sits across the river from Union Correctional Institution. Even though Union Correctional Institution is on the same property, immediately northwest of FSP, the county line, with Union County, runs in between the two, which makes Rayford the United States Postal Service address city of Union Correctional Institution, while Stark is the USPS address city of Florida State Prison. FSP is Florida's only prison that is officially named prison, with the other institutions being named correctional institutions, or correctional facility if it is a privately contracted
prison. You don't keep people
prison.
out of prison if you just don't name them prison. You just name them, like, Florida butt sex. That's what you name this shit, and people won't go to jail. If we labeled that the name of this video, we would get demonetized.
Yes, they will, according to your theory of people wanting to go.
There I go again in my heterosexual point of view. I'll build a prison and then bad people show up.
Butt sex,
God
they'll be right
turn
there.
Against me.
Today, it is a vacant lot surrounded by a modern penal facility, but it was once the site of a fearsome prison cell block known as
The Rock.
It took the wrecking ball more than a year to demolish the Rock, but nothing could tear down its legacy.
Wait, I thought the Rock was San Quentin.
This is the Florida Rock. This is the hardest prison that ever was created in Florida, and then there's still a new prison that was like rebuilt on top of it. But it's got mad history. This is the Alcatraz of Florida.
Long history of despair, brutality, and cold-blooded killing.
Didn't you get that by the motherfucking Kimberly facts?
Isn't it an island? She said a lot of numbers in that one. I got kind of confused in the middle of
Numbers confuse you.
Whizzing by. It was whizzing by.
It's like the Matrix.
Bro, these second episodes, they be whizzing by. I'll be on my like third fucking drink and shit. Like, I don't know. But it's not an island, right?
Nah.
Oh, so
Flew by in front of me. A man
No, it's not. I
came
looked
out
at
of
it just now.
nowhere
It's like
with a big
Gainesville.
homemade shank, double-edged sword, and started stabbing
I
him.
mean, technically, Florida's a big fucking island. I mean, we're all kind of like,
It's a peninsula,
yeah. I mean, but like we're so close to water under us that it's like,
right?
Yeah.
We're in hell right above it. But here,
right in front of
here.
me.
yeah.
They stabbed him 69 times.
I can remember my reaction.
They stabbed him 69 times.
Like, I wonder if they stopped. It was like 67, 68.
That's a machine. That's not an easy thing to do.
Blood all over the cell floor.
Who's him? Is this some guy?
I'll get to see both of you.
Huh?
Who they stabbed?
They're talking about his prisoner.
Just some guy.
Yeah.
Go to the chair.
State Prison, Rayford, Florida.
Like they were just talking about the prison. He's like, this prison's so crazy. I seen a man stabbed 69
69
times.
times. That sounds like a message, bro.
Then he don't even remember the guy's name. He just remembers he got
Remember how many
stabbed
times he
69.
got stabbed.
I think his name was Johnson.
That
but
shit crazy, man.
They should just put 69 times on his tombstone.
Is behind silver cobwebs of razor wire underneath a tremendous sky.
It's like a pile of fucking barbed wire.
When it opened more than 85 years ago,
Damn.
Rayford was hailed
85.
as the model
When was
prison
this?
of the South.
That looks like the Jailhouse Rock video.
When was this documentary made? It was 85 years ago. What are we talking about?
This is like early 2000s.
But within a few decades, it would be denounced as one of the worst in the nation. Over time, the prison has housed a diverse group, from drifters and conmen to killers and rapists. There was Giuseppe Zangara,
Giuseppe
an Italian immigrant
Zangara.
who tried to assassinate
Oh,
President
you
Franklin
remember we were watching these during the Miami episode.
Giuseppe.
Roosevelt. And there was Jack Murphy,
Remember he went to shoot at Roosevelt, but ended up shooting the mayor of Chicago.
Oh, right. That's right. It was like, oh man, this guy, fucking bad day in Florida. It's like, god damn it.
who stole the priceless Star of India sapphire from a New
Go check out that Mr. Miami podcast episode.
York museum before graduating to murder. Throughout its history, the prison has recorded riots, senseless murders, escapes, and more than 200 executions.
Damn, we do it big.
The story of Rayford Prison begins in 1913 when the state built a group of wooden stockades on 7,000 acres of remote farmland in northern Florida.
What year? They didn't say.
The state prison farm, as it was called, housed 600 inmates. A few had been convicted of such arcane offenses as changing the marking of an animal and throwing objects into a railroad car. But most had committed more familiar crimes: larceny, robbery, incest, rape, murder.
Incest, huh? I didn't know that was against the law.
By 1917, the prisons...
The law?
Huh?
Is incest still against the law?
I don't think so.
Should it be?
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I'm going to play this. You look it up.
Yeah.
Population had nearly tripled to 1,600 inmates. They wore striped uniforms and toiled as farm laborers, harvesting corn, peas, sugarcane, and butterbeans. Those who could be trusted on horseback were assigned to the prison's plow gang.
Plow gang.
Troublemakers wore a pair of shackles fastened to their legs.
Damn.
Still other prisoners were sent out to collect turpentine from the 1,000 acres of pine trees that surrounded the prison.
That time they were still chipping the pine trees, letting turpentine run out in the cups and pouring it in the barrels.
What are you getting drunk?
Rayford's convicts were also assigned work on road gangs under the supervision of Florida's Highway Department. Their backbreaking labor was used to clear and pave roads that would serve the state's growing transportation needs.
In the states of New Jersey and Rhode Island, incest between criminal adults is legal. Criminal adults? That's a weird term. However, neither states permit marriage. In New Jersey, each person involved in a relationship must be 18 years old. In Rhode Island, can be 16 years old. In the state of Ohio, incest is legal, allowed, provided that one party is not a parental figure. In all other states, incest is illegal. So in New Jersey, Rhode Island, and Ohio, incest is legal, except in Ohio where they have the stipulation that it can't be one of your parents.
Damn.
But not in Rhode Island and New Jersey. I guess it can be your
fuck
dad.
The shit out of you, bro. And you see how the stigma comes up? They always say that comes from the South and shit.
Yo, New Jersey and Rhode Island.
Maybe they are doing it more in the South, but it's still illegal.
They're just doing it more in the South.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess the argument is, why do we need a law for it?
Just go to New Jersey.
To deter escape, road work was conducted under the gun, a practice that continued until 1968.
I've seen as high as 400 inmates a day going out under the shotgun, which that would consist of 4 to 5 shotgun squads.
What?
You'd have somewhere between 50 to 100 inmates on each shotgun squad.
Damn.
And 4 to 6 shotgun guards.
Even with the threat of the shotgun, convicts were always tempted to escape.
Hell yeah.
Back then, of course, we worked a lot of people outside the compound.
Jim Godwin started as a prison guard in 1951 and served as assistant warden from 1964 to 1968.
Guy from Shawshank.
And we had escapes probably 40, 50 a year. And of course, this being a wooded area, it's very, very difficult to chase a person
Thank you, good sir.
with a dog on a leash to make up any time.
A
on
leash?
them. And the best way to do it was to take dogs that ran loose like fox dogs and follow behind them with horses.
In Rayford's earliest days, the chase dogs were dispatched
Marley.
to the scene of an escape on a horse-drawn carriage, then let loose to track the wayward prisoner. Most chases ended in the same way, with the unfortunate inmate cornered in a tree.
Or bitten.
Even in the 21st century, Rayford's chase dogs are still called upon in the rare event of
The
escape.
big ass Marley.
This is Shelby. Hey, girl. Shelby's 3 years old. She's probably...
Daily practice keeps their chase skills sharp.
I'm going to attempt to elude the dog by going down a certain area and see if you can track me down.
Gene Pope is serving 1 year for cocaine possession and parole violation. Because his sentence is short, he is not considered an escape risk. His job is to pose as an inmate on the run.
I'm gonna give her the command to let's go to work and find a man, and we'll go on. Let's go work. Find him. Find him, girl. Honey.
Hunt him.
Honey, baby. Honey. Honey. Honey, Chip.
It's one thing to sit around waiting for them.
Girl, that's him. That's him. Go find him. Go find him. Honey, baby. She thinks it's a game. They're trained as puppies for it to be a game to them. That's how we train them. And she don't actually know the difference between when we're on a real call or when we're on a fake call.
Why do you think they wear those pants?
Practice.
Because they're hillbillies.
Oh, come on, man.
They are.
Nah, man.
What part?
What do you mean?
What part are they not? They're wearing pants and they're hillbillies.
What?
They're wearing pants and they're hillbillies.
They're not hillbillies.
They got the hillbilly accent.
The same way that we run a real call. Girl, where's the at?
You don't think they ever fuck with the Confederate flags? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. They might.
That's their alma mater, bro.
I've been up in that area. They're very nice people.
Remember the good and bad cops? Remember the KKK prison officials? That's his nephew.
We don't know that.
We don't.
Get him out of there. And they actually think that they're playing that game, but they're playing that game for real. Get him, girl. Get him, girl. Had a good.
It's probably because the dog like jumps up on their lap or something.
What do you mean?
The pants maybe has like some type of like cloth element, so they can like wipe paws and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Girl, had a good girl. Had a good girl. That's a good girl.
Excited about it, though?
That's a good girl.
She got me. Always does.
Oh, he
never
really
fails. Whether it's 50 feet
I
or
would not
5
want
miles,
to do that.
they get you every time.
To get off of your.
Well, she doesn't bite.
Most escapes from Rayford have involved convicts assigned to outside work gangs. Successful breakouts from inside the prison compound have been few and far between. Long ago, the prison built a structure that was virtually escape-proof. For some, it was a hellhole. For others, it was a death sentence. It was a building like no other, a place known as The Rock. The state prison in Rayford, Florida had opened in 1913 as a collection of wooden barracks surrounded by farmland. Because of the remote location, officials had not even built a wall to enclose it. Small brick housing units had been added over time to meet the prison's growing population, which by the late 1920s included the most desperate of offenders. Men like Tommy Tipton, who was serving a life sentence for murder in the first degree. Homer Hardy, murder in the second degree.
Why do these guys all have the same like consonant name?
And Orrin Johnson, who also had a life sentence. He was convicted of rape. To answer the increasing need for maximum security, the state built a giant structure to house the worst society had to offer. Completed in 1928, this was the Central Housing Unit, but inside it was known by a different name, The Rock.
A lot of people wonder how it got its name, The Rock. And it's pretty much determined that most people refer to the rock as being built solid as a rock, and it was built of solid concrete and steel.
With the addition of The Rock, Rayford officially became a maximum security prison. It was one of the few in America not behind a wall. That changed in 1932 when a wooden fence was added around the perimeter. The wood enclosure was ultimately replaced by a chain-link fence topped with razor wire. Today, it is electrified and deadly.
Try me.
But fences rarely mattered to inmates secured in The Rock.
These bars here, the old bars, they were tempered just about all the way through because you could not cut them. Believe that. I know that for a fact.
It was probably, at the time it was built, the most secure building in the country.
Wow.
We never had an escape from it.
With room for 960 convicts housed in 2-, 4-, and 6-man cells, The Rock was a self-contained world, a massive 3-story prison within a prison.
It had a built-in open-air courtyard, had 2 of those. It also had a theater, law library and general library. It also had a food preparation and dining area for the inmates.
There was also a hospital and even a tuberculosis clinic for those inmates unlucky enough to have contracted the deadly disease. Healthy inmates were encouraged to give blood twice a month in exchange for a day off work. Conditions in the rock were primitive for both inmates and guards.
We didn't have radios, no way of communicating with the officers that were up in the rock. So you would send an inmate runner to go get the officer if you needed him, if you needed assistance. You know, you actually depended on the inmate runner to bring you help if you needed help. So
I'm the one that's running.
Depend on the inmate runner.
Inmate runner.
I'm the one that's running.
An inmate runner.
Go get the cops. I need backup.
Oh, okay.
Harry Henson.
I'll be right back.
Send him to me.
Prisoners were encouraged to settle disputes and personal grudges in the boxing ring that stood outside the massive cell house. No rules of the sport were enforced, and inmates cheered as fellow inmates beat each other with 8-ounce gloves. Matches were also held for the prison's organized boxing teams, which were kept racially segregated, as were the prison's church services. But there were other efforts underway to enlighten and rehabilitate Rayford's inmates.
I don't know if they had black guards.
By 1935, the prison had opened a school that could give illiterate prisoners an 8th grade education. Because officials believed that a man with a fair education was less likely to get into trouble when he got out of prison, advanced students were also trained in a variety of marketable skills. These included shorthand, typing, business English, bookkeeping, drafting, and cartooning. Paroles were common, and most inmates at Rayford held the legitimate hope of one day being fitted for a prison-furnished suit and setting out to rejoin society.
That's pretty dope.
By the 1940s, the prison could boast that its farm made it self-sufficient. Rayford's livestock operation included a swine farm and a poultry farm. Its herds included prize-winning beef cattle and dairy cows.
Damn, when cows used to look like cows.
Dairy turned out 6,000 gallons of milk a month.
It's a lot of milk.
For economic and security reasons, farming has long since been abandoned as an institutional program. But in a link to the past, current inmates are still expected to put in long hours outdoors on the lawnmower gang.
Damn, lawnmower gang.
Almost every day of the year, the squad slowly and methodically pushes their antiquated mowers over every blade of grass inside the 45-acre prison. When they are done, it is time to start again. Convict labor at the prison has gradually...
That's methodical, like...
Kind of hell, right?
Yeah.
That's all I was talking about.
Yeah, pineapples in the ass. Mowers on deck.
Bro, what do you got to do tomorrow?
Mow shit, bro. Gotta mow the mow.
You get used to riding lawnmower? No, man. You know those old school ones that spin?
It would turn you into like a lawnmower monk.
Yeah.
From all the discipline.
And that's what would help.
Yeah.
It would help.
Yeah.
Make you think about one thing. Calm your mind.
Schaefer from the last episode, though, he should have been like, he has to balance all day long.
Whatever it is. Right on the log?
Yeah, and there's like spikes and shit.
Oh, man.
Filled with salt and honey.
Lime juice.
Evolved from farming to industry. The trend had begun as early as 1927. The prison's first factory was the tag plant, where inmates stamped out Florida's automobile.
Yo, I always thought that was fake, but I guess it's really real.
Really, really real. Shoes too, right?
Damn, so all those license plates is made by prisoners, bro.
License plates. The plant is still in operation, and the offenders who work here supply the state with 8,000 tags each day. Inmates in the print shop turned out state publications as well as a prison newspaper, the Rayford Record. Those who worked in the garment factory made uniforms for their fellow prisoners.
Yo, why can't prison be like this
also,
now?
In 1927, a tobacco factory had opened at Rayford
What?
to fill the prisoners' voracious appetite.
Voracious appetite.
90 convicts worked full-time to process and package cigarettes and chewing tobacco to be supplied.
Yo, he's smoking a cigarette while packing cigarettes.
They don't be taking none of these cigarettes for yourself. Yeah, no problem.
We got a voracious appetite, yo.
Of charge to the prison population. The products were packaged under the brand name DC for Department of Corrections.
No, but it's just a DC. It doesn't stand for that. DC.
Although the prison's industries continued to run smoothly, living conditions would eventually become intolerable. By 1955, the Rock in particular was severely overcrowded.
We had a influx of inmates come into the system, and we're not able to keep pace with it as far as constructing new institutions. And we did have 18 men in a 6-man cell.
I don't mean to judge.
In particular, was severely overcrowded.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
We had a influx of inmates come into the system, and we're not able to keep pace with it as far as constructing new institutions. And we did have...
My man's pose right here, though. Peep the pose. Notice how nobody's right next to him. Nobody is trying to get misdirection or information. You stand next to this guy a little too close in jail. I just thought I'd let you know.
There's no way in the world where we're going to get sponsored.
It was also in 1955 that the
Bro, we got progressive
most tragic
content.
escape attempt. The inmate was George Heroe, who was serving 75 years in the Rock for armed robbery. One day, a guard arrived at his cell to escort him to a disciplinary hearing. Heroe suddenly pulled out a gun that had been smuggled in by his wife.
What?
This inmate had
She
been
put it in
there
her
for
vagina?
some time and was a troublemaker.
And then he put it in his
At the time,
booth.
Jim Godwin's
Yikes.
father was the prison's assistant warden. The elder Godwin was waiting to meet Heroe in the prison's disciplinary court.
He came down, he walked the officer through the gates, which is something that really shouldn't have happened, because you carry an inmate somewhere, he doesn't walk behind you. Anyway, he came down and he shot my father twice.
Godwin died of the gunshot wounds. Heroe made it as far as the main prison yard before he was captured. He was convicted of the murder and spent the rest of his life at Rayford.
Almost made it, bro.
If only for a moment, Heroe had made history as the first to escape from the confines of the Rock. His actions had also set the stage for what was to come, a tragic new era of murder and bloodshed inside Florida's toughest prison.
They have not said intellectual or angelic yet.
I know, right? Because they're not dealing with intellectual.
The big house.
Or angelic folk, according to... Well, they're not.
The overcrowded conditions inside the Rock at Florida...
Bowling! Yo, you got that volleyball court today? Yeah, I'm gonna fuck them up. Fuck them up, fuck them up.
More and more inmates were crammed into antiquated cells.
Bro, this is more reason for you fucking kids not to do crime.
Yo, man.
Look at these denim ash tight jeans.
Many would not survive their sentences.
Killings.
Well, that's multicultural.
Useless, senseless killings. It seemed like every time you turn around, someone was coming up and saying, such and such, so-and-so, whoever, got killed or got stabbed. It got to be such an everyday occurrence till you really didn't pay much mind.
Institutionalized.
With no end to the overcrowding in sight, prison officials needed some form of relief.
Peep the stance, though, guys. I'm just trying to show you guys what to look out for when you go into prison.
Sent to Rayford for breaking and entering and petty theft. His name was Clarence Earl Gideon.
Earl, over here.
Had been tried in a Florida court without a lawyer because he could not afford one.
He got that
and
money.
None had been appointed.
You know how you were trying to be Bob Ross's trees? If this guy would have dressed like a tree for Halloween, his face looks like a branch, bro. He would have made it.
From his cell, Gideon wrote to the Supreme Court.
And he filed.
Damn, that's not even. That's like a bunk. Look at what they did there. That's crazy.
His name was Clarence Earl Gideon.
Look, watch.
An indigent.
Come on,
Gideon had been tried in a Florida court without a lawyer because he could not afford one, and none had been appointed. From his cell.
Notice it's not a real bunk.
No, it's
they just threw a mattress under there.
Yeah.
Damn, man, hostile conditions.
It's more like a
Gideon
slump.
wrote to the Supreme Court.
And he filed a federal lawsuit, which is one of the early times that prisoners filed in federal court. And he alleged that his constitutional rights were violated because he was not given the benefit of counsel when he was tried for a felony charge.
Because he's an indigent.
On March 18th, 1963, the Supreme Court handed down the historic Gideon decision, which struck down the convictions of Gideon and many other inmates who had no lawyer for their trials.
They got a Gideon.
The Gideon decision
came down on these.
The Gideon decision brought about the first reduction in prison population that I'd ever seen. And
who cares for the poor prisoners?
Because of the striking down, in fact, of the sentences that had been handed out. We released.
So basically, they started letting white people out.
Quit breaking the law.
About 1,400 inmates here in Florida who had been tried without benefit of counsel. So an extremely sharp reduction in the prison population.
Damn, dog, 1,400?
Yeah.
But the reduction was short-lived. Within 2 years, the Rock was again filled beyond
They all
capacity.
came back.
Well, we still criminal.
Among the new inmates was Jack
'Cause why?
Murphy.
The recidivism rate, and we learned that.
Recidivism.
We learned that from what? From the doctor episode.
Recidivism.
Recidivism.
Recidivism?
Recidivism.
Recidivism?
That is the rate of people that go back to prison.
Come back. Come on back.
Then they don't do that in Norway, because in Norway, they sing to you.
Yep, and they give you PlayStation 4s.
To murderers.
In a garden.
Serial killers.
Nice to bite.
S4.
And a job down the street.
As a jewel thief.
Damn, did you just rob me?
Better known as Murph the Surf.
Murph the Surf!
In 1964, he was convicted of stealing the priceless 565-carat Star of India sapphire from the Museum of Natural History.
You should let him go.
3 years after his release from a New York prison, Murphy was again arrested on far more serious charges.
Bro, he
This
really
time,
looks like a
he
jewel
received
thief.
a life sentence plus 20 years.
Like, if they told me to, like, oh, what's a jewel thief? Like, Murph the Surf. Look him up.
Yeah, for real.
The life sentence was for the murders of 2 women. The 20 years was for the robbery of a wealthy Miami resident. Murphy arrived at Rayford in 1968.
Are you killing people? Come on, Murph.
In 1986.
Come on, Murph.
I didn't care for Jack Murphy because I thought, among other things,
Because he had a
was
whack name.
Serious
Surf the
criminal,
Murph.
very serious criminal. And
Is this Gideon?
For whatever reason, was apparently able to.
They look like they're
attract
part
more
of the same
attention
lineage.
than was good for inmates in the prison system.
That sugar is making me a little.
Violent defenders like
I feel
Murph
my
the Surf.
assumption game is coming on hard from the sugar content. That sugar will do that to you.
That sugar got me assuming.
Lieutenant Colin Hall came to Rayford in 1961 as a prison guard assigned to the Rock.
You got a lot of inmate-on-inmate assaults. And you
Inmate
were
on inmate
involved
assaults?
in,
Uh-oh.
Personally, by trying to keep one from killing the other.
But the prison defied the staff's
They should
best
give that guy a
efforts to
job
keep
as
the
like a
peace.
telemarketer.
Lieutenant Hall recalls one savage night in particular.
Savage night,
As he
uh-oh.
made his rounds on the midnight shift, something came rolling down the corridor. It was a human head.
Oh,
Damn, like a soccer ball. But it has to like,
So
it like
shine
bloop, bloop, bloop because of the
flashlight
nose.
That's what
everything.
came out of it.
It's
Walked
not
back
perfect
and
circumference.
looked in
Well,
the
his
cell and
would probably roll a little better than
the two
most.
that was in there was just sitting on the bunk grinning. And I can remember my reaction.
You went back to eating your hoagie.
The sale floor and everything. I'll get to see both of you go to the chair.
Nah, you was eating a hoagie sandwich while I was going on.
His reaction was, "I'll get to see both of you go to the chair." How's he going to go to the chair if he's got no head?
And because we weren't controlled effectively by the staff, we just did.
That's why they pay you all that money to be smart.
So every week there's a murder. Every week at least somebody's raped.
Ooh. Ken Cooper spent 2 years in the Rock for robbery.
He got raped.
Right.
Allegedly, Ken, if you watch this, I'm sorry.
Someone else.
You just look like you got raped.
I was sitting in the
got the
chow
raped
hall.
vibe.
4 of us were eating.
Could be wrong though. Remember, it's the sugar, and I'm
nowhere
assuming.
with a big homemade shank, double-edged sword, and started stabbing the man right in front of me.
Oh man.
Chances are, if in the institution we're going to get stabbed, I believe you'd probably get stabbed with a weapon more like this. It's small.
That's another, besides butt sex and like being into butt sex, if you were really into making shanks, that's another positive.
You're a crafty person,
like a shank crafter,
like a MacGyver type
like
guy.
A fucking what are those places? Like a
blacksmith,
shank maker. You belong in
The
jail.
staff has collected a surprising variety of weapons ranging
What if
from
you liked both butt sex and shank making? Oh my god, it's like going to Disney World.
guns.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's
some people.
That's true.
That's some people's attribute of their humanity. That's their attributes. Okay, that's what they provide.
Blacksmithing and
butt sex. Blacksmithing, shanks, and butt sex. If you could turn a sword, if you could take a toothbrush and a couple razor blades and turn that shit into a sword, and take fucking Big Hank's dick, or possibly fuck Big Hank with your dick, you are winning in jail. It's lit for you. That's not a big population, but some people find that type of life attractive.
No, I hear you, but I'm most probably don't, right?
Hopefully. We gotta hope for shit like that. There's billions of people. Let's hope that is a small percentage, like point something.
Oh gosh, these past 2 episodes have been aggressive and stressful for me.
Rayford, like many high security prisons, may unwittingly supply its inmates with materials to make them.
What was that though?
Today's 45, I think.
What was that?
Today's Trump's episode.
May unwittingly supply its
all about
inmates.
butt sex.
What is that? What kind of weird device is that?
Scissors?
Do you put that in someone's nose?
There's a rubber band on it, so it's
Looks like
spread it
tape.
apart.
That's crazy.
Is that a wine opener?
This guy was having too much fun
with materials
right?
to make them.
Cosmo, what is that?
Momo?
This is crazy.
This is the furniture factory.
It's probably the biggest source of the weapons that come from inside the institution. They use a lot of fairly heavy gauge metal to make furniture with, and the inmates use the scrap metal to make weapons, knives. I don't know if you'd say it's really.
I like
a good
to wheel
idea or
with
a
my
bad
shirt
idea.
off.
The furniture factory's been here.
That's the dude that likes being there.
But it's always kind of been a source of a problem too.
What have I seen? I've seen murder.
Butt sex.
I've seen drugs. I've seen rape.
Yep, told you. Maslow's
years ago, I used to
hierarchy.
go upstairs to the shower and I have a knife here with a wash rag because it was a big shower like this, and it was awful.
Why is it
steamy in
funny though?
there. And if you weren't an alpha male, well, then you're in trouble.
How do you know if you're an alpha?
John Armour was sent to the Rock in 1974. He's serving 20.
You gotta learn how to make shanks.
And you know what's funny about alpha male? You're alpha male in certain situations sometimes.
Yeah.
You be like a level of an alpha male.
Sometimes I think Ashley's my alpha.
Yeah, man.
She punches hard.
I'm definitely
5 years.
I try to be beta. Like I actively try to be a beta male. And there's situations where it works, situations where it doesn't work. It just seems less stressful than trying to be the best, toughest, big dick in the room. All the ideas come through me.
To life.
You know what I mean?
If you're in jail, you might have to.
Oh, in jail, you gotta be that dude. You gotta. Yes, you gotta let it be known.
Come out of that cocoon like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You gotta let it be known.
Yeah.
Right away, or it's gonna continue to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
You're gonna get some guy who looks like Kimbo Slice standing over you.
It ain't really much. It's just as long as they know, like as long as people know that you're not to be
teabag.
Any of it, just like that, you're not up for it. You know.
Yeah.
Not that. Again, I feel like I'm not the toughest guy in the room, but like. I'm also not just going to be taking people's shit.
Yeah.
So as long as that's understood, I'll take an ass whooping if need be.
I'll stab someone's balls.
I mean, hey, I don't know if I need to stab anybody in the balls, but I hear you. Because
I'm punching in the neck, clogging your throat, and then stabbing you in the balls.
Okay. Why? Why are you going to take away their balls?
Because my reputation will be known after that part.
The Gooch Blaster?
You got to know who you're fucking with.
You got to
Who's that guy?
He's the Gooch Blaster.
That guy's built like a pillow. Careful. Gooch. He gooches people.
He blasts the gooch.
He blasts the gooch. He might look like a pillow, but he'll fucking puncture your pillow.
Fluffle that gooch. The tank terrorizer.
They call it domestic violence nowadays, but it was killing my wife.
Armour says his was a crime of passion.
I thought that was a cop.
His wife told him she was leaving.
That's when I killed her.
He looked like a correction officer.
Now that's leading up to it, and that's
he was doing the whole like correction officer,
stab wounds,
rock.
All I can tell you right now.
Look, he's rocking like a correction officer.
The pathologist report stated she received 4 stab wounds into the chest area.
Damn.
And the
damn, bro, why you have to do that?
A few other things I can't remember.
He was heartbroken.
After 26 years, Armour has seen everything Rayford has to offer.
I've seen out-and-out murder, stabbing another inmate. The worst one I seen personally was a guy that was supposed to go home in 2 days, and they stabbed him 69 times.
Oh man, we heard about you at the beginning of the episode. 69 times, Tommy.
The office, and then over onto the bench, and he died right there.
And yet, for other prisoners at Rayford, their lives ended with the pull of a lever strapped down to the electric chair. Custody, care, and control. This is the motto of the Florida State Prison System. But at Rayford, history has recorded one additional responsibility: capital punishment.
Good old Sparky.
After Florida abolished public hangings in 1923, the state's condemned criminals were routinely put to death in the electric chair. From 1924 to 1961, when it was moved to a nearby prison, the chair was housed at Rayford. Built by inmates out of oak, the 3-legged chair was used more than 200 times before it was finally retired and placed in storage in 1999. The prison's first electrocution took place in 1924. Inmate Frank Johnson was put to death for shooting a locomotive engineer during a robbery. But by far, the most famous inmate to be executed at Rayford arrived in 1933. His name was Giuseppe Zangara, an unemployed bricklayer from Italy who almost became the most notorious assassin of the 20th century. His tragic act played out on February 15, 1933, at Bayfront Park in Miami. That evening, President-elect Franklin Delano Roosevelt addressed a tightly packed crowd of 10,000.
Mr. Mayor, my friends of Miami, I am not a stranger here.
After the speech, the newly elected president rode slowly through the crowd in an open car, stopping to chat with dignitaries and supporters.
Hi, you see here, huh? That's how they used to speak back then. Oh my God,
Suddenly,
I got him, huh?
5 pistol shots rang out, aimed at the back of Roosevelt's head. Spectators and police subdued Giuseppe Zangara holding a .32 caliber revolver only 25 feet away. Once in custody, he explained his act by saying, "Sometimes I get a big pain in my stomach, and then I want to kill these presidents who oppress the working man." FDR escaped unscathed and took office 16 days later, but each of Zangara's bullets had found a separate victim. All would survive the attack except one, the mayor of Chicago, Anton Cermak, who died 3 weeks later. Two weeks after that, in the swiftest legal execution in 20th century American history, Zangara sat down without remorse in Rayford's electric chair. His last words were simply, "Push the button."
Oh, savage. Holy crap.
No one came to claim Zangara's body. He was buried without fanfare in the Rayford Prison Cemetery. His grave, marked only with a name, number, and date of death, gives little indication that the man buried below almost changed the course of history by killing the 32nd President of the United States.
It's crazy that Roosevelt was in a wheelchair most of his tenancy or presidency.
Wasn't that the other one?
Oh, that Eisenhower was
No, the other Roosevelt.
No, that's Theodore Roosevelt.
It was Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Theodore Roosevelt.
Theodore was before him. He was the one.
Not the one in the wheelchair?
No, this one.
Zangara's execution went off without a hitch, but that wasn't always the case for Rayford's homemade electric chair, nicknamed Old Sparky.
Yo, was that Colonel Sanders holding it down?
Like Colonel Sanders, right?
Fire in an execution where flames apparently a foot long had shot out of an inmate's head during his execution.
Holy
and
shit.
caused burns and really raised the question of whether this was humane or not.
Oh, well.
Was this quick and humane punishment, or was this something that people suffered in?
I don't know. It's a hard one. I mean, the lightning bolt's coming out of his head.
Electrocutions here and sees it differently.
It's only a little light,
Contrary to
dude.
what people say, that's not true. I've seen their legs blister somewhat. I saw some smoke, but nothing like they characterize it in the paper.
He's on fire for like a little bit.
It's
Have you seen beef jerky? It's beef jerky.
Right? Nah, we good. We good over here, boss. Don't even worry about it.
Reporter Tom Fancook has also witnessed an execution in Old Sparky.
Damn, that's a horrible name
The
for...
creepiest moment was when this gentleman was brought in, because you prepare yourself mentally for what's going to happen, and you're in a viewing room not more than 5 feet from the actual three-legged wooden
Damn,
chair.
I don't know. Could you go to execution?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it. That's kind of crazy.
I could. Again, that's the irrational part of me that thinks I would want to see something happen to somebody who did something bad for me, even though I disagree with killing them.
Yeah.
If it were happening, because that's the law and that's where we're at.
Yeah. Why not?
Not so much why not,
Why
just
in
like
Rome?
indulging in my negative side, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't right, but you know what?
Yeah, but it's like going to the Super Bowl. It's only going to happen once for you.
Here I am. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't scar me for life.
Field goal.
Which I doubt it will. I'm pretty desensitized at this point.
I couldn't do it.
Where the electrocution
freaked me
takes
out.
place.
During the operation cycle, a series of jolts are delivered that sometimes dim the lights as the power draw hits 2,000 volts.
Damn. That's your life getting sucked out of you.
And the jolt is delivered, 2 jolts over a period of, I believe, about 90 seconds. And the body convulses and is just leapt forward. And by the time the second jolt hit, there was no real leap forward. And he took about one more breath, and that was about it.
During its executions, the prison has maintained maximum control of the condemned inmates.
Colonel
Maintaining
Sanders.
Control of the general population, however, has always been a challenge. The most serious disturbance at Rayford took place on February 12, 1971. It began as a sit-down strike when inmates ignored the morning bell and refused to report for work. Instead, 2,800 inmates gathered on the prison yard. They were angry about overcrowding and the lack of pay for their labor.
At that time, we didn't have the most sophisticated of public address systems, but we used bullhorn, if you will, to talk with the inmates, and over a period of
what do you need, inmate?
Would you please?
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
Block, and we were greeted with shouts and hoots, and no, we're not going anyplace.
As day turned to night, more than half the inmates finally went back to their cells.
Yeah,
the rest, however, spilled out onto the athletic field.
What exactly? Like, okay, you don't want to go inside? Don't go inside. Let's lock them up. There you go. Enjoy being outside.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, enjoy being outside.
Yeah.
Like, we're good. We're good. You're going to just be outside. No?
I think we need to evolve past putting people in prison.
Yeah.
We need to come up with like
what about those people that want to do butt sex with corpses? What about those people? We shouldn't lock them up somewhere?
As long as they're dead already and people want to give up their organs, just give up bodies for butt sex.
Okay.
It's about coming up with solutions.
What about people that steal little girls and do it to them that are alive? What do we do with them?
There are going to be certain things that we need to figure out. Like, what we do is we put you in a cage with a lion.
Mm-hmm.
If you can win,
then you're good.
You can rape as many little girls as you want.
For how long?
You just got to win. You know that's not going to happen.
You got to beat them.
Yeah.
You got to kill them.
Exactly.
Oh, you got to kill them.
Exactly.
Right.
You give people goals,
and then we'll put it on pay-per-view, Netflix.
I don't. You can't add that value to it. It needs to be so like jail is serious, even though it's becoming a reality TV show on certain channels. But you need to give it. It would need to evolve to a point where we give that ritual as much respect as we give to like a wedding or to like
the death.
Sending somebody to like put them on an island, have them survive. Like, if you can really prove that this person did something,
escape with Ray Liotta.
Yeah, like leave them to the elements. There's a movie that I was watching where they in the future they have like a fenced off place where all the criminals go, and they just let you go wild there. So if you created some crazy crime, you might end up with a couple serial killers on that. So that'll take care of the serial killers that want to kill. Yeah, kill these other assholes. Make everybody survive, but it's not up to us. This is your area of the world. You live there because you've proven that you can't live with everybody else over here that wants to live a regular life and walk their dog, and you know what I mean? Like, that's you. Go over there now.
Right.
You have to be proven because there is some faulty shit with the criminal justice system. Obviously, there's people on death row or whatever that have been put to death that maybe there wasn't like 100% evidence. You know, this whole jury of our peers.
That was
Who
an
are
odd
your
one.
peers?
That's an odd one. Yeah.
Who are your peers?
Like,
where
really
did
my
you
friends? Like, really my friends?
Yeah.
I probably would never be convicted.
Yeah, make the jury other convicted people.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, because they're going to be like,
I don't know. Their decision-making abilities aren't the best, so I don't
but
want to
they're
trust
at least
them.
going to be like, nah, this guy raped a little girl. I kind of believe it. I can kind of tell who this dude is.
I can't go with somebody who's in jail. They didn't make the right decision. Why would I?
Maybe not
trust
directly in jail, but if like what I'm saying, the same way that these big companies recruit the hackers, after the hackers do some crazy shit.
Right.
Have you proven yourself to be somewhat of a good moral character person? You just happen to like rob banks, or you know what I mean? Like you've been institutionalized to a certain degree. I think real prisoners can read prisoners better than criminologists.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean?
If you're a child molester, you could probably see a child molester at the Publix.
And maybe there's not we're talking about the child molester that maybe just watched the porn on a computer. Maybe he didn't take it to the rape level, or he just
kept it under control. But he
yeah, we want your opinion on this guy. What do you think this guy is? Because you find that in a lot of fraudsters.
Yeah.
They can spot each other
that
out.
one Leonardo DiCaprio movie, he ended up working with Tom Hanks as
they spot each other. They
whatever.
know, you know. And if you get even Schaefer, right, the cop that was in jail for being a serial killer, what was he doing behind jail? He was ratting people out.
Yeah, he was ratting people out.
He was a criminal.
He
He
was
was
an
like
informant.
a legal aid.
Yeah.
You come and ask for help on your paperwork, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's incriminating.
Right.
Let me pass that on to the cops."
Yeah, for sure.
So you're still gonna have those type of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all Schaefer should have been helping catch other killers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he
Silence
did.
of the Lamb. Remember that? That's sort of what was going on there.
Oh yeah, Anthony Hopkins was.
Clarice.
As long as she talked to him every once in a while, he could like. There wasn't like a underwear thing, right? No,
it was just like a talking thing.
We just had to just come and talk to me. Yeah.
That even you can recycle people, in a sense. You can help them in other. They can help. Even though they're bad people, they can help us in other respects. You know.
Yeah.
We got to be able to do stuff like that. We got to evolve past putting any. I can't stand seeing a dog in a cage. Like if you bought the dog. Train the dog, be with the dog. Like if it's just gonna be in a cage all the time, I get it gets rambunctious every now and then. It's a training thing. But if you're using that shit as like a dog sitter, fuck out of here.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
No more leashes for kids.
No more hashtag
no more leashes for kids.
Hashtag be that albino python in your life.
No crates for your dogs.
Albino python.
Don't crate your dogs.
So this is a crazy prison. This place arguably is the hardest prison.
The Rock. And it still exists today?
Florida. They tore down the Rock because it was just too old and it wasn't, you have to have a prisoner. They invented radios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't have a prisoner runner no more.
Like run down the street
so
just in case you get
architecturally they built it for more advanced security and stuff. Same location. Gang rapes, stabbings, all these things are still going on, but the prisoners are a little more sophisticated now. They got cell phones now.
Yeah, I go camping up there sometimes.
There's this prison inmate right now that I want to say it was either Alabama, it might be Florida, that he's actually blogging within the prison, showing how bad, how much repairs need to be done.
He's allowed to?
No, he's getting it out. Miami Herald's actually running the story right now, and they're trying to get it.
Like they found him? Like they know his name and all of that? Why would he do that if he's going to get in trouble?
Because he wants to bring awareness.
Yeah, but how is the whoever the prison guards and the warden and all that?
He's trying to show
Monday.com is a team management
show
tool
how
that
fucked
changed
up
my
it's in prison. And
on the marketing.
He wants to bring awareness to the conditions.
New undercover footage obtained by the Miami Herald shows the horrific living conditions behind bars at a notorious Florida prison. Inmate Scott Whitney had been secretly filming inside the Martin Correctional Institute since 2012 and was able to release some of his footage to the Miami Herald.
In a documentary called Behind the Barbed Wire, Whitney shows inmates fighting each other nearly to death and widespread drug and alcohol use.
Here with more on her report is Romy Ellenbogen. She's with the Miami Herald. So, Romy, thank you so much for being here. So, how was Scott Whitney able to film inside this prison for so long without getting caught?
So he used a couple of different methods. First, the ability to have a cell phone in prison, even though it's contraband, isn't unusual. Lots of prisoners have cell phones. They're brought in either through visitation, through guards, and then they can kind of use them as they please. But Scott actually used cameras attached to the side of glasses that he wore. He also put a phone in a Bible, and he cut out the O in holy and was able to carry that around and film from within the book.
In fact, I think he got caught with a cell phone once and was sort of locked up for a while, and then came right back out and started shooting. And the images are really, really, I guess disturbing. There are many other words to describe it. We talked about the widespread drug use, the violence, but also kind of like the lack of interest that staff there seem to take in the inmates. So I'm curious about how Florida officials are reacting to this.
So when the story ran, the Department of Corrections gave me comment about 5 hours after publication. They said their Office of Inspector General is opening up a case into the story, into the video, what it showed. And they say that they do everything they can to keep drugs and contraband out of prisons. As of now, that is the only comment I've received.
That guy
OIG inspections can take a number of months. So it'll be time before I see what the end result into that is.
The thing about drugs and contraband, including cell phones, is, how are they getting in and out of the prison?
The butt.
There's a good likelihood that it's coming from the staff.
The butt.
They're the ones coming back and forth, right?
Actually, it's coming through the butt.
Well, based on the experts I've spoken to, it is common that guards can bring it through. They can make a large profit by selling them to inmates and having inmates sell access to that cell phone, which they then pass up to the guards. And so that's why when Scott got caught with a cell phone and came out, he almost immediately got another phone. He said, I have money. There's corruption everywhere in the system. I can always get another.
One of the more shocking videos to come out of the prison involved inmates who were high and they were drunk. Explain to us, what kind of drugs are used, how they get into the prison, and I guess the alcohol. I'm guessing it's just sort of homemade stuff with stuff that they can get from the cafeteria.
With butt juice on it.
Yeah, the alcohol is sort of homemade stuff. They sell sugar. Inmates sell contraband sugar from the kitchen, and they kind of let that ferment. The drugs, the largest one in the prison system right now is K2. It's also known as spice. In the video, you hear them referring to it as twat a lot.
Look at that's the weed.
And what that is it's a synthetic referring to it as twat.
Yo, 2 strikes. Two strikes for fucking Martin County today.
Flocka.
A lot or twack.
Twack. Smoking that twack. That's what I want.
And what that is it's a synthetic cannabinoid, so it can be made with homemade products. It's harder to detect on a standard urine test, and that's why it's so easy for these prisoners to make it and consume it and get it on the inside. Unfortunately, because it is synthetic, it has a lot of unknown effects. They don't know what it's being made with, and that's why it's caused so many overdoses.
And I think you even hear Whitney say on one of the videos, they let you just twack all day, whatever the phrase is, essentially saying that there are inmates that are high, and the guards just kind of let them be high for the whole day.
Twacking all day.
Certainly seems like an indication that the system is incredibly broken. This is not about rehabilitation. This is not about. I guess it's about punishment. It's not about correction.
Florida prison. Bitch.
So that's what, when I was speaking to my sources and Scott, that they were making a point of. They said,
yeah, I don't know why she's doing prison investigation. We need like a hardcore criminal.
They cannot rehabilitate on the inside like this, where there's drugs all around and there's violence all around, and they feel that there's not
you know how to boof shit? Let me show you.
Guard oversight. He mentions that in one of the videos, a guard kind of breezing by with the flashlight during count. He says they don't care about us. They don't care how we're doing. They don't care if we're safe.
And so the question becomes: is this specific prison, or is this indicative of prisons all across this country? It's sort of an indictment of our entire criminal justice system, which many people, both on the Republicans and the Democrats, are suggesting needs to be reformed. But I just think when Americans see this, you have a very similar reaction to the one you just had. It's about rehabilitation, certainly punishment, but you hope that when people finish serving out their time, they can be reintegrated into society. What we see in this video is not anybody that looks like they can be reintegrated.
When you see this video, you realize why there's such a high recidivism rate. Right. In this country,
she hit she almost paused on that recidivism.
At least in this video, the way it's characterized, these inmates are sort of barely housed. Not to mention the structure, the quality of the structure is terrible.
It's not the inmates, it's the system. It's the guards, it's the warden, it's the people that are responsible for these human beings that are failing them.
Yeah. Well, Secretary Mark Inch has gone to Tallahassee and he's asking for an increase in the budget to try to hire more staff so they can cut those 12-hour shifts back to 8 hours. In his budget request, he mentioned that from
people in there.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be a humane place. I get there's some murderers in there and some crazy.
Even smoking K2 and drinking homemade hooch.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
You gotta pay the prison guards more.
Just sit your ass down and do your time and get better. You shouldn't be drinking and smoking.
If it's boring as fuck and somebody offers you some spack,
it's jail, bro.
Yeah, but
it's jail. It is jail.
I know.
You should just sit there and take that shit.
How do you pass the time? You smoke some twat and do the twat dance.
Do some push-ups.
Do the twat dance.
Push-ups. Do a push-up dance. Stretch. Yoga. Meditation.
Some of them.
Read a book. Write a song. Write a book. Write a poem.
Yeah.
Write some thoughts out. Manifest.
Boof a cell phone.
Don't boof a cell phone. Don't do anything. Don't stop doing that shit, bro. You need to be in there getting better, not smoking K2.
All right, but you need a shank just in case.
Well, man, if everybody was meditating and reading books, then nobody would need a fucking shank.
If everyone was meditating, that's true. We'd have to just change the whole prison system, though. You have to get rid of butt sex, and then you.
There's nothing wrong with butt sex. There's no problem.
So leave the butt sex.
There's nothing wrong with butt sex.
Okay.
Consensual butt sex is where we having problems.
Right. Getting raped.
We gotta stop that.
What if somebody offers you like 2 Swiss rolls and a fucking cream pie?
Well,
your
one,
butt.
the butt cream pie.
No, for your butt.
Well, I mean, that's something you're gonna have to decide.
It's bartering.
Something you would have to decide.
Only when,
again, if you want it, like if you're horny for it, then
what if
I assume
craving a Swiss roll.
I assume the Swiss rolls is just a bonus,
or a cream pie, or like extra mashed potatoes.
Either-
What about the little juice that they give you?
Are we talking about sexual things, or is mashed potatoes a little juice? Is that a sexual thing? Like cream pie is a sexual thing?
No. This is food.
Okay.
But if you don't have anything else,
I mean, I like mashed potatoes.
to barter, you might have to give up the butt.
And if you like to give up the butt, then it's just a bonus. So there's no problem.
Yeah, but sometimes that's what I'm saying. Jail will put you in a position where you're like, I don't know if I like it. I like drugs.
No, you know. See, that's the thing. Like,
Nah.
Yeah.
You don't always know.
Well,
Nah.
Yeah.
You could be so fucked up in your head.
No.
You could take mad drugs.
No.
Yeah, bro.
No, there's no like weird.
You never blacked out before.
I blacked out tons of times. You
And
know
be
what? I
like-
never had to call and ask my boys, yo, did I grab your dick last night, or what was going on?
What if somebody be like, yo, Thompson,
You
was grabbing dicks?
Then I would have to like reevaluate something and really think long and hard about like, situations.
Yeah, but not everybody is as intellectual and angelic as you, bro.
Wow. I am not angelic.
Some people fall victim to the circumstances of peer pressure and social engineering. Therefore, they become a motherfucking statistics, and their booty hole is included in that statistic.
No, man. If you like dick, you like dick. If you like vagina, you like vagina. If you like it both, you like it both.
Some people are confused.
Then you like them both. That's cool too.
You're systematically, like I said, they didn't get to go to prom. They didn't get to go on that first date.
Yeah, man.
They first
Sounds
date
good.
was cuddle bunching with Big Dick Harry.
No, see, that forced intercourse doesn't make.
Sometimes that's love.
No, it's not. How's that love?
It just is, bro.
It's not, man.
It's a situation.
It's not true. It's not true. I'm sorry.
It's part of recidivisms.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with going back to jail.
Or that dick word that the guy used. Exactly. So, if you've been raped in jail, we're going to leave a PSA or a link.
No, we're not. We're not doing the thing. You're not leaving a link. Where you going? Sorry.
It's okay. Maybe they want to reach out and like talk to somebody about it. Fresh Produce Florida Media at Gmail. And Thompson will make sure to email you back all that information.
No, I'm not going to.
He wants to recruit himself to rehabilitate and help
Jesus Christ.
People that have been affected.
Halfway, take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man.
I go by the name of Phraydoe Peans.
And I'm still Chris Thompson.
And I hope you enjoyed this episode.
The train wreck.
Peace and love, and please stay out of jail.
Stay out of jail.
Stay out of jail.
Nighty night. Keep the butthole tight.
I hope you learned something from this episode.
Probably didn't know it. Oh, man.